Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Daily English Conversations. I'm Sophia, and I'm here with my good friend, Mason. How are you today, Mason?
Hey, Sophia. I'm doing great, thanks. Hi, everyone. I hope you're ready for some fun today. We've got a really interesting topic lined up. Can you guess what it is?
Here's a hint that'll make you smile, maybe even laugh a little.
That's right. Today's topic is, That's Funny. We're going to talk about humor, what makes things funny, and share some stories that will hopefully give you a good laugh.
I love talking about funny moments, but before we jump into the conversation, let's go over some important words to help you understand everything better. Vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Yeah, exactly. Vocabulary preview.
Don't you wish that I could give you?
Okay, first up we have the word joke. You've probably heard this one before. A joke is something we say to make people laugh. It can be a funny story or a clever sentence.
Yes, and next is sense of humor. This phrase means the way someone understands what is funny. People have different senses of humor. What one person thinks is funny, someone else might not.
Exactly. And another word we'll be using today is punchline. This is the part of the joke that makes people laugh. It's usually at the end of a joke.
Great, so we've got joke, sense of humor, and punchline. Keep these words in mind as we share our funny stories today. Ready, Mason?
Let's get started.
Mason, do you remember that time we went to the park last summer and you tried to fly that kite? I'm still laughing about it.
Oh no, are you bringing that up again? Yeah, I remember. It was supposed to be this relaxing day at the park, and instead, I ended up chasing a kite all over the place.
Yeah, and the wind was so strong that the kite flew right into a tree. You were running in circles trying to get it down. It was like watching a cartoon.
I know. I must have looked ridiculous, but you know, things like that are funny because they're unexpected. I wasn't trying to be funny, but it just happened.
Exactly. Sometimes the funniest moments are the ones we don't plan. And that's what makes them so special, right? Like when you trip over something in front of your friends. It's embarrassing at first, but then you laugh about it.
Yeah. Those are the best kinds of jokes when real life is funnier than anything you could make up. Speaking of which, do you have any funny stories, Sophia?
Oh, I do. Okay, so this happened a few weeks ago. I was at the grocery store and I saw someone waving at me. I waved back, all friendly, only to realize they were waving at the person behind me.
Oh no, that's classic. Did they notice you waving back?
Yes, and the worst part was, I didn't want to seem awkward, so I pretended I was waving at someone else too. But there was no one behind them. It was so embarrassing, but I couldn't stop laughing afterward.
That's hilarious. It's moments like that you think it's going one way, and then it just completely surprises you. I think that's why people find them so funny. It's all about that surprise, like a punchline in a joke.
Exactly, the unexpected part is what makes us laugh. Have you ever noticed how some jokes just don't land because people see the punchline coming?
Yeah, if you guess the punchline, it's not as funny. Humor really works when it catches us off guard, like that time at my cousin's wedding.
Oh, what happened?
So, we're all sitting there, and the best man starts his speech. He was trying so hard to be funny, but no one was really laughing. And then, just as he's about to tell a joke, he trips over the microphone cable and knocks the cake off the table.
Oh no, that's terrible, but also hilarious.
I know, right? Everyone was in shock at first, and then we all just burst out laughing. It was so unexpected. That's the thing about humor, it's often the moments we don't see coming that make us laugh the hardest.
Absolutely, sometimes life writes the best jokes for us. And it's moments like that where you just have to laugh at yourself, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes a good sense of humor, being able to laugh at yourself and not take things too seriously.
We hope you've enjoyed this first part of our conversation on what makes things funny. From embarrassing moments to unexpected jokes, humor is a big part of life, and we'll explore even more in the next part.
Now, we're going to explore various types of humor and see how they differ from one culture to another. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. So let's start with some common types of humor. The first type is puns. Puns are jokes that play with the meanings of words. For example, why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field.
Puns are great because they're clever and usually make you think for a second. But not everyone finds puns funny. It really depends on the person's sense of humor.
Exactly. Another type is slapstick humor. This is physical comedy, like when someone slips on a banana peel or gets a pie in the face. It's very visual and often exaggerated.
Slapstick is so classic. It's all about the physical actions. Do you remember those old comedy films with Charlie Chaplin? His slapstick humor was iconic.
Yes, Charlie Chaplin was a master of slapstick. His humor was physical, but also had a lot of heart. Now, let's talk about dark humor. This is a type of humor that deals with serious or taboo subjects in a light-hearted way.
Dark humor can be tricky. It's not for everyone, and it's important to be sensitive about it. It can be funny, but also offensive if not handled carefully.
Right, it's a balance. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about cultural differences in humor. Humor varies a lot from one culture to another. For example, British humor is often known for being very dry and sarcastic.
Yes, British humor can be subtle and clever. It's not always about making people laugh out loud, but rather making them think and smile. On the other hand, American humor can be more direct and relies a lot on quick wit and jokes.
That's true. And then there's humor from other cultures, like Japanese humor, which often includes a lot of wordplay and visual gags. It's quite different from Western humor.
Have you ever watched any Japanese comedy shows? They have some really unique styles, like manzai, which is a form of stand-up comedy involving a duo with one person playing the straight man and the other the funny man.
Exactly, the interaction between the two performers is crucial, and it's often based on misunderstandings and quick exchanges. It's very entertaining and different from what we might see in Western comedy.
And let's not forget about humor in other cultures. For example, in Latin American cultures, humor often includes lively storytelling and exaggerated expressions. It's very animated and full of energy.
Yes, and it often includes a lot of physical gestures and expressions. It's fascinating how humor can reflect cultural values and norms. It's a great way to understand and connect with different cultures.
Absolutely. And it's a good reminder that humor can be a universal language, but the way we express it can be very different. It's all about understanding and appreciating these differences.
Right. So, Mason, do you have a favorite type of humor or a funny story from a different culture that you'd like to share?
Oh, I do. When I was traveling in Spain, I went to a comedy show where the comedian told jokes about everyday life in Spain. The humor was so vibrant and full of energy, and I remember laughing so hard at the way he exaggerated certain situations.
That sounds amazing! Spanish humor is known for its warmth and liveliness. It's great to experience different types of humor and see how they make people laugh.
Definitely. And I think that's what makes humor so interesting. There's so much variety, and it's always exciting to discover new ways that people find joy and laughter.
Absolutely. Humor connects us all. And learning about different styles of humor can broaden our understanding of other cultures. It's a wonderful way to explore the world.
Totally agree.
Now we're going to dive into some interactive humor activities and challenges. Are you ready?
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this. We've got some fun activities planned that will test our sense of humor and help our listeners practice their English skills in a playful way.
Sounds great. Let's start with a classic activity, joke telling. We'll each tell a joke, and then we'll discuss why we think it's funny. I'll go first.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear it.
Okay, here's my joke. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts.
Good one, Sophia. I like how it plays on the double meaning of guts. It's clever because it uses a common phrase in an unexpected way.
Exactly. The punchline plays with the word guts both literally and figuratively. Now it's your turn, Mason. Let's hear your joke.
Alright, here goes. What did one ocean say to the other ocean? Nothing. They just waved.
That's a great pun. I love how it combines the literal wave of the ocean with the idea of waving hello. Very creative.
Thanks. It's fun to play with words like that. Next up, let's move on to our humor challenge. We'll give each other a funny scenario, and we have to come up with a quick, humorous response.
That sounds fun. Let me think of a scenario for you. Here it is. Imagine you're a superhero with the power to turn anything you touch into a giant rubber duck. How would you use this power?
Wow, that's a funny power. I'd probably start by turning all the office chairs in my workplace into giant rubber ducks. Imagine everyone trying to get their work done while bouncing around on ducks. It would definitely lighten the mood and create some hilarious chaos.
That's fantastic. I can picture it now. Okay, here's my scenario for you. You're a famous comedian, but your microphone only works when you sing your jokes. What's your first joke song?
Alright, here's my joke song. To the tune of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Why did the tomato turn red? Because it saw the salad dressing. I think the melody makes it even funnier.
That's brilliant, Mason. Adding a melody really does make it memorable and extra funny. Now, let's wrap up with a funny memory challenge. We'll share a funny memory from our own lives and talk about why it makes us laugh.
I love this idea. So, one of my funny memories is from a camping trip I went on. I tried to make s'mores, but I accidentally dropped a whole marshmallow into the campfire. I watched it roast and turn into a giant puff of smoke, and everyone laughed as I tried to retrieve it with a stick.
That's hilarious. It's funny because the situation was unexpected and a little bit of a disaster, but it turned into a memorable and amusing moment.
Exactly. Those kinds of memories are great because they remind us to laugh at ourselves and enjoy the funny moments in life. Do you have a funny memory to share, Sophia?
Sure, I remember one time I was at a friend's party and I tried to impress everyone with my dance moves. I got really into it, but my shoe flew off and hit someone's drink, spilling it everywhere. Everyone laughed, and I ended up laughing too. It was embarrassing, but so funny.
That's a great story, Sophia. It's funny because it was unexpected, and the reaction was so genuine. It's those moments of surprise and spontaneity that often make us laugh the most.
Absolutely, and it's great to share and laugh about these moments with friends. It helps us bond and enjoy life's funny side.
Definitely. Well, that's it for today's podcast. We hope you enjoyed our interactive activities and humor challenges. It's been a lot of fun exploring different types of humor with you.
Now we're going to explore how humor varies across different cultures and share personal reflections on how humor affects our daily lives. Mason, are you ready for this?
Absolutely, Sophia. I think it's fascinating how humor can be so different depending on where you are in the world. Let's dive into it.
Great! Let's start by talking about how humor changes in different cultures. For example, in some cultures, humor might rely heavily on wordplay, while in others, physical comedy or situational humor is more common.
That's right. In the United States, a lot of humor comes from quick wit and wordplay, like puns and clever one-liners. But in countries like Japan, humor often involves a lot of slapstick or exaggerated physical actions. The cultural context really shapes what people find funny.
Exactly. And there's also the concept of inside jokes or humor that's specific to a particular group or culture. These jokes might not make sense outside of that group. For instance, regional accents or local events can play a big role in what's considered funny.
That's a good point. I remember traveling to Spain and hearing a lot of humor based on local traditions and even political satire that I didn't fully understand because I wasn't familiar with the context. It was interesting to see how humor can be so tied to cultural knowledge.
It's amazing how humor can be both universal and deeply cultural at the same time. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about how humor impacts our daily lives. How do you think humor influences your mood and interactions, Mason?
Humor is such a big part of my daily life. It helps me handle stress and makes interactions with friends and family more enjoyable. Laughing with someone can create a strong bond and make even the toughest situations seem a little easier.
I completely agree. I find that humor helps me stay positive and connect with others. When I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, a good laugh can really lighten the mood. It's like a little reset button for my day.
Absolutely. And humor isn't just about making jokes. It's also about seeing the lighter side of life and not taking everything too seriously. I think that's an important skill to have, especially when things don't go as planned.
Totally. Being able to laugh at yourself and find humor in everyday situations makes life more enjoyable and less stressful. Plus, sharing those moments with others can make them even more special.
And it's also a great way to bond with people. Humor can break the ice and help build relationships. I've made some of my closest friends through shared laughter and funny experiences.
Exactly. So, as we wrap up today's episode, let's reflect on what we've learned about humor. From different cultural perspectives to personal experiences, humor plays a crucial role in our lives. It helps us connect, cope, and enjoy life.
Well said, Sophia. We hope you've enjoyed exploring humor with us and have found some new insights into how laughter can impact our daily lives.
Thanks for joining us on this journey through humor. It's been a pleasure sharing laughs and learning with you. We hope you've had fun and picked up some new ideas about humor.
Stay tuned for more exciting topics in our upcoming episodes. Until then, keep finding the humor in your everyday life and sharing those laughs with the people around you.
Goodbye for now, and thanks for listening to Daily English Conversations. See you next time.